Ram
Krishna,
Hare Ram Ram Ram
Hare
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 Ram,
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna Krishna
Hare
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 Hare Hare
Ram,
Ram Hare Ram Ram
Hare
Ram
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Hare
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 Krishna
Ram,
Krishna
Hare Hare,
Krishna
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 Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare Hare Ram
Hare
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 Ram
Ram,
Ram
Hare
Ram
Hare,
Hare
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 Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare
Hare
Hare
Hare
Ram
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Ram
Hare
Ram
Ram,
Ram
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare Hare
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna Krishna Krishna
Hare
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 Hare Hare
Ram,
Ram
Hare
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 Ram
Ram,
Ram
Hare
Ram
Hare, Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Ram
Ram,
Ram
Hare
Ram
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Hare
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 Ram
Ram,
Hare Krishna
Hare
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 Krishna
Ram, Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Krishna
Ram,
Hare
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 Ram,
Ram Hare Ram
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Ram
Krishna,
Hare 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 Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
Ram,
Hare
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 Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Ram Hare
Krishna,
Ram Ram Ram
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Ram, Hare
Krishna Krishna
Krishna,
Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram.
Nandapriya Mataji.
Sorry, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Vanchakalpatarubhyascha, Kripasindubhyeva cha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नमाचार्य श्रील हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। Guru Maharaj ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances. This is Nandapriya Narmada Devi Dasi from Charlotte, welcoming all of you to Bhakti Sangha conference call. I thank everyone for attending this session. Please forgive me for interrupting your ecstatic chanting. I would like to read the 10 offenses to the holy name, names which are to be avoided, written by Srila Vyasadeva in the Padma Purana. Number 1, to blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their lives for propagating the holy name of the Lord. Number 2, to consider the names of demigods like Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma to be equal to or independent of the name of the Lord Vishnu. Number 3, to disobey the orders of the spiritual master. Number 4, to blaspheme the Vedic scriptures or scriptures in pursuance to the Vedic version. Number 5, to consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be an imagination. Number 6, to give some interpretations to the holy name of the Lord. Number 7, to commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name. Number 8, to consider the chanting of Hare Krishna as one of the auspicious ritualistic activities which are offered in the Vedas as fruitive activities, Karma Kanda. Number 9, to instruct a faithless person about the glories of the holy name. Number 10, to not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy name and to maintain material attachments even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be a Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired success, Krishna Seva. Once again, I thank everyone for attending this session. Please forgive me for interrupting your ecstatic chanting. Let us move to our next session, which is Srimad Bhagavatam class. May I know who all have joined the call this morning?
हरे कृष्ण नंद प्रिय नर्मदा माता जी दंडवत प्रणाम। शिला प्रभुपाद की जय। गुरु महाराज की जय। प्रीतिदासी फ्रॉम शार्लोट। हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna, Preeti Mataji, Dhanavad Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Gurudev. Thank you very much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna. Welcome to the call, Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण।
Narmada Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to all the assembled devotees on the call. This is Anita Ramya.
Hare Krishna, Nandapriya.
Hare Krishna, Anita Ramya Mataji. Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Gurudev. Thank you very much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna. Welcome to the call, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Nandapriya Narmada Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. This is Aditi Devi Dasi in Edmonton, Canada.
Hare Krishna, Aditi Mataji, Dandavad Pranam. Please accept humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Gurudev. Thank you very much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna. Welcome to the
Hare
call.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Nanda Priya Narmada Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Vinita Gandharvika Devidasi from College Station, Texas.
Hare Krishna, Vinita Gandharvika Mataji, Dandavad Pranam. Please accept humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Gurudev. Thank you very much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna. Welcome to the call, Mataji.
हरे कृष्णा आनंद प्रिया नर्मदा माता जी दंडोत प्रणाम श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय गुरु महाराज की जय। दिस इज श्यामा गौरी देवीदास from Charlotte.
Hare Krishna, Shama Gauri Mataji, Dandavad Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Gurudev. Thank you very much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna. Welcome to the call.
Welcome back, Shamagari Mataji. So pleased to hear you.
Please
Hare
hold on.
Thank you माता जी, thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Hare
Hare
Krishna Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Shri Guru and Gauranga and all the assembled devotees. This is Yashamati Priya Devidasi from Chicago.
Hare Krishna, Yashamati Priya Mataji, Dandavad Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Gurudev. Thank you very much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna. Welcome to the call, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Yoga, Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. My humble obeisances to you and all the devotees. This is Krishna Kumari Devidasi from Raleigh.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Kumari Mataji, Dandavad Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Gurudev. Thank you very much, Mataji, for joining the call. Welcome to the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavad Pranam. Please accept our humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Gurudev. Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for joining the call and giving you valuable association. Before I hand over the call to you, Prabhuji, I would like to ask Aditi Mataji to go ahead and give a brief introduction about me. Mataji, please take over.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisances. I'm very pleased to introduce His Grace Samik Rishi Prabhuji this morning, and this is a brief introduction for him. His Grace Samik Rishi Prabhuji is a disciple of Srila Prabhupada. Being a doctor by profession, he has done immense services to the devotee community and served the society by donating for lots of projects. For example, he donated the deities in Philadelphia Temple, and he made 3,000 temple units that serve as an altar in the villages. He also served as temple president of ISKCON New Jersey for 15 years. He is known for his simplicity and humility. He is now an initiating guru in ISKCON. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna, over to you.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you for the introduction. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavad Pranam. Yeah, we are very fortunate to have you here, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. And please take over the call, Prabhuji. Today's, we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 4, Sloka number 29, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Please take over, Prabhuji.
My humble obeisances to all the devotees who are attending this meeting. So this topic today is Hiranyakashipu terrorizes the universe. We'll do some prayers. Om Agyanti Mirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Nama Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Sha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Namo Mahavadannaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratushe Nama Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Krapa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Nama Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे We'll be reading about this chapter 4 about this Hiranyakashipu. He is terrorizing the whole. I will let you know that Hiranyakashipu, he becomes very envious, but because of his worshipper, of Brahmaji, he got lot of boons, and he oppressed the demigods, so much intoxication, and he wanted to receive everyone's worship. He wants to take the position of the god, and he ushers the sacrificial shares and controls the nature. So Hiranyakashipu's uncontrolled senses, dissatisfaction and pride. So in distress and fear of Hiranyakashipu, the demigods worship Lord Rishikesha, and Lord Rishikeshi appears there. The demigods hear the Lord's reassurance voice, "Do not fear, I am there. I shall stop Hiranyakashipu's evil acts." When he teases his noble son Prahlad. So now, he's assuring the because he's assuring that Narad Muni is narrating this verse number 29 because he was also there along with the Supreme Lord. Ityuktva loka, the text is Ityuktva loka gurana tam pranamya divokasah nyavartant gato dveda vega menire chasuram hatam. The great the translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The great saint Narad Muni continued, when the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the spiritual master of everyone, so Krishnam Vande Jagat Guru, he is the spiritual master of all the universes, everybody, all the living beings, thus reassured all the demigods living in the heavenly planets. They offered their respectful obeisances unto him and returned, confident that the demon Hiranyakashipu was now practically dead. Because Lord assured that I will take care of him. You do not be worried. So we really need Lord's assurance. Early morning when we wake up in Brahma Muhurta, if we just pray to the Lord to protect us, please put nursing kavach, or you could just simply pray that please protect us from all the evil effects, all the listens early in the morning, eats the nice sweet rice or sweet milk sweets, then he becomes very, very happy, and then he gives whatever that you ask. You asking in the noon or evening time is not as good. Evening time is the day. And Lord is really busy with his other activity, but morning hours, that's why Brahma Muhurta is very important to chant. So Narad Muni just saying, so purport of this verse, the less intelligent man who are always busy worshipping the demigods should note that when the demigods are harassed by the demons, they approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead for relief. Means the demigods themselves they go. Means they need their own protection. So how they could protect us when they are? So it is Kaimuttik Nyaya that if they cannot get protected, they cannot give us the protection. So if you want a real protection, then we have to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Since the demigods resource the Supreme Personality of Godhead, why should the worshippers of the demigods not approach the Supreme Lord for whatever benefits they desire? So ultimately, we should worship Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that He could bestow us anything, whether we have desires, we have material desires, we have spiritual desires. He will fulfill our all the proper desires, and demigod worship is mostly practically all Bhagavatam, all the cantos, they discuss. Prabhupada is strongly recommended not to, there is no need to worship demigod. You could give them respect, you could love them, but our real seva or worship should be means puja or prem should be with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because He is the Supreme Head. Even the demigods, they get their boons, they get their position by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And we are direct children of Krishna, so we should approach to our real Father, the Personality of Godhead. Mamai Vanshu Jiva Loki Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. We are all His Anshas, and we should approach to Anshi, from whom we are born or we have taken. So we should take shelter of Him, and then we would be fearless. So every canto, Bhagavad Gita, many places, they recommend there is no need to worship the demigods. Not that you disrespect them, you respect them, we respect everybody, any senior person, anyone with a great knowledge or gurus, you worship them, but it's not that you just make, that is the point, that you just replace with the Supreme Personality of God. Supreme Personality of is the master of all the demigods. So Bhagavatam, why should the worshippers of the demigods not approach the Supreme Lord for whatever benefits they desire? So this is in Bhagavatam 2.3.10. Says akamo sarvakamo va moksha kamo udarati tivrena bhakti yogena yajet purusham param. Whether one desires everything or nothing, means any material desire, or whether he desires to merge into the existence of the Lord, that is, you may say that yes, he just you merge and finish his material desires or material existence. So moksha. So even if you want a moksha, liberation from the material entanglement, but still more than that is the Krishna prema. He is intelligent only if he worships the Lord Krishna. Even if one is looking for moksha, udaradhi, moksha, kama, udaradhi, are all kinds of desires. So whether he may be without any desires or we have full of desires, sarva kama. But tivrena bhakti yogena yajit purusham. So with great attention and intensity, we should worship the Lord Krishna. Purusham, param purush, that is Krishna. So only intelligent is that who worships Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by rendering transcendental loving service. Our whole aim, the existence of everybody, is to worship the lotus feet of the Lord or go back home, back to Godhead in the loving devotional service of the Supreme Lord. Whether one is a karmi, jnani, yogi, if one wants a particular benediction fulfilled, even if it be material, one should approach the Supreme Lord and pray to Him. Or then it will be fulfilled. There is no need to approach any demigod separately for the fulfillment of any desire. So that's a very important topic, where everybody is worshipper of demigod. Practically in India or anywhere else, they all go to different demigods and they worship him to get different benefits. But same thing that could be obtained by worshipping the Supreme Lord. Like Prabhupada gives the example, if you may get a water from a well, from a pond, from a lake, but if you go to a large, vast place, a water reservoir, then you could drink the water, you could drink like a big river, like Ganges or Yamuna or some big thing, which they were not polluted in the past, but now they are made polluted. That is different. But people could go and they could do the boating, swimming, exercise. They could transfer their luggage, like all the loads and everything, by the boats or ship. So everything could be done by a large source of water. So large source of everything, that is Krishna. So he's recommending, do not depend on the demigod, but come to me. And so that particular verse from Bhagavad Gita that we see all the time, 7:20. कामस्तैस्तैर्हर्त ज्ञान प्रपद्यन्ते अन्य देवता तम नियम आस्थाय प्रकृत्या नियता स्वया. So I will read the whole purport that we will read in 7. Okay, just 29. So whether one is karmi, jnani or yogi, if one wants a particular benediction fulfilled, even if it is material, one should go to the demigods. We read that. There is no need to approach any demigod separately for the fulfillment of any desires. So Bhagavad Gita, some other verses they talk about, and So this 720, those who are freed from all material contamination, surrender unto Supreme Lord and engage in his loving devotional service. As long as the material contamination is not completely washed off, they are by nature non-devotees. So as long as we have material desires to fulfill, to enjoy our senses with the sense objects, then we are not really devotees, even if those who have material desires and who resort to the Supreme Lord are not so much attracted by external nature because of approaching the right goal. So that is a very important part, that if you approach the Supreme Lord, then he could fulfill your material desires and he could fulfill your spiritual desires. Oh, but if you worship demigods, then we may live up we may be away from the Supreme Lord. We may away from the loving devotional service to the Supreme Lord. Both cannot be done together. So why not to go to the Supreme Lord, and whatever you need, you could ask him. But basically, it is better not to ask anything. Lord knows our heart. He's sitting as Paramatma. So he's giving us everything anyway. Food, shelter, birth. He's protecting us from, like he protected Prahlad, who depended on the Supreme Lord. He protected Dhruv Maharaj. He protected this Gaj, or elephant, who was caught. His leg was caught hold by the large crocodile. So there are many ways that we could be benefited by worshiping the Supreme Lord. You may say it may take long time. He does not come quickly, but he knows what is good, because all the demigod worshippers, they lose everything at the end. Demigods are like, they are human beings, or you may say they are jiva soul. They have been given the position by their hard devotional service, but they get by so much austerities that they get, just like Indra's position you could get by worshiping Shatakratu. If you perform 100 Ashwamedh Yagya, he becomes Indra. If somebody would follow the Varnashram system 100 times, then he could become Lord Brahma also. But that is all material. We are a spiritual being, and we can never be satisfied by getting anything in the material world, because everything would be lost, our body would be gone. But we should worship Krishna, who sees that that is bad, and then he, just like a merchant, if you go and pay him some money, he could give you cigarettes, he could give you some drugs, alcohol, but a real loving father would not give him such things. So our loving father is Krishna. So we should approach to Krishna rather than paying some price for the demigods. They also need, but because of approaching that is the right goal, they soon become free from all the material lust. So he finishes, not just he gives us, but he finishes the desire to enjoy the material senses. Any atonement that we do for any sinful activity, then again he becomes, again when he's free from, like somebody is in the jail, then he may be relieved by doing some hard work in the jail and he's free, but he starts doing the same thing again, because the seed of the desire or seed of sinful activities is all the time there. But Krishna removes the seed, so we won't be needing like any boon from the Lord. Just like Dhruv Maharaj went to get the bigger position from the Lord Narayan. So he appeared him, and when he saw him, then he said that why I'm sorry that I'm looking to ask some bigger position. I don't need that. In place of like diamond you have, that I'm seeing you, why I would be looking for a broken pieces of glass. So he did not want any desire anymore. Prahlad Maharaj was also asked, but he was a devotee from Rome, and he immediately said, please remove my all the desires to enjoy my senses. Please just relieve from my father. He says 21 generations would be relieved from their sinful activity. When he became so humble and nice that even the person who is killing him and put him in so many, he tortured him in many ways, but he asked for his protection. Just see devotee and who is worshipper of demigod, see the differences. So read some more verses from Bhagavad Gita and in Srimad Bhagavatam also. Whether one is in Bhagavatam, it is recommended whether one is a pure devotee and free from all material desire or full of material desire, they should approach the Supreme Lord. In Vedic literature, there are recommendations for worshipping different gods for different purposes. A deceased man is recommended to worship the sun. Those who are not devotees of the Lord think that for certain purposes demigods are better than the Supreme Lord. But a pure devotee knows that the Supreme Lord Krishna is the master of all. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said, Ekele Ishwara Krishna or Sab Bhratya. Only the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna is master and all others are servants. Therefore, a pure devotee never goes to the demigods for satisfaction of his material needs. It depends on the Supreme Lord, and the pure devotee is satisfied with whatever he gives. He is satisfied with the Supreme Lord. Now, some verses from Bhagavad Gita more and more. Ye yatha mam prapadyante tas tathaiva bhajamyaham. This is 4:11. Mama vartamano vartante manushas partha sarvasha. Is all surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respect, O son of Pratha. So, men in this world desire success in fruitive activities, and therefore they worship the demigod. Quickly, of course, men get results from fruitive work in this world. So they get it, but at the death or they are not permanent. They go away. Whatever boon has been given, they are gone. So why not to get something permanently? We are permanent being, and Supreme Lord is also eternal. So we should pray to the Supreme Lord only and not anyone else. And Krishna is giving them the power. Power to the demigods comes from Supreme Lord. He has appointed them. They are just officers and directors. They are not the Supreme Lord themselves. And Krishna puts your faith in those demigods. Endowed with such a faith, he endeavors to worship a particular demigod and obtains the desires. But actually, these benefits are bestowed by me alone. So why not to worship directly? Because the boons are really coming. The demigods are all the worship to anyone or in any yoga, any kind. You have to worship Krishna because Krishna is the best. All the results they come from Krishna. So whether you do karma kand or gyan kand or upasana kand or any mystic powers, they all come from Krishna. So to worship Krishna directly rather than indirectly. And the fruits of this indirect worship are temporary. Antavattu phalam tesham bhavati alpa medasham devan devayajo yanti madbhakta yanti mamapi. Men of a small intelligence worship the demigods, and their fruits are limited and temporary. Those who worship the demigods go to the planets of demigods, but my devotees ultimately reach my supreme planet. So demigods, they may go to Chandralok, Suryalok, different planetary system they may go, but they also they are all fallible. Those wherever you go, then you will come down. When your pious activity are finished, then you come down in the Martyalok, and again you work hard. So why to go like an yo-yo, go up, go down, and why not to worship directly to Krishna with a steady mind? And then, because demigods are parts of the Supreme Lord, but ordinary living entity are also part of the Supreme Lord. But Bhagavatam, everywhere it is said that the Brahmanas are the heads of the Supreme Lord. The Kshatriyas are his arms, Vaishyas are his waist, the Shudras are his legs, and all serves different functions regardless of situation. If one knows that both the demigods and himself are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, means we and demigods, they are all jiva souls. But the jivas also, they are also bound up. So his knowledge is perfect. But if he does not understand this, he achieves different planets where the demigods reside. That is not the same destination of the devotee. The devotee will go to the Supreme Lord. So Antavattu Palam Tesham Alpamedasam. The people who are with less intelligence or practically no intelligence, they worship demigods. So Shine Punya Tete Bhukta Aswarga Lokam Vishalam. Shine Punya Martya Lokam Vishalam. Even you go to the higher planet and enjoy, but Punya, when they become finished, then Martya Lokam Vishanti. Evam Trai Dharma Anuprapanna Gatagatam Kama Lavatte. When they have enjoyed vast heavenly sense pleasure and the results of their pious activities are exhausted, they return to this mortal planet again. Thus, those who seek sense enjoyment are adhering to the principles of the three Vedas, achieve only repeated birth and death. So, birth and death is not finished. We want that we don't have to go through birth, death, old age, disease. But demigod worshippers, they have to go through all threefold mortal miseries, Adi Devik, Adi Bhautik, Adi Adhyatmik, all this. Maybe they may be enjoying, even the demigods on the higher planet also, they have to go, although it is less troublesome. But birth, death, old age, and disease, that is with the living being, it is still there as long as we have the body. So they have a material body and they have to go through all these phases. So if we worship demigods, we go to the demigod planet. Yanti devrata devan pitran yanti putra vrata bhutani yanti bhuteja yanti madhya jeno pimam. One who worship, those who worship the demigods will take birth among the demigods. Those who worship the ancestors go to the ancestors, Pitraloka. Those who worship ghosts and spirits will take birth among the such beings. And those who worship me will live with me forever. So that is the. So and Krishna is easily pleased with after saying this. So we should worship the Krishna rather than worshipping the demigods. And that is the Bhagavad Gita. Many places it has been said. So just Bhagavatam 1 or 2 that we will read, and why. So what is the result of demigod worship? That and how you could avoid. Krishna is the original primeval Lord. Parabrahma, Paramdhama, Pavitram Paramam Bhavan. Purusham Shashwatam Divyam Adidevam Ajamvyam. So there are different relationships between Indra and between Vishnu and so worship of the universal power. So people worship Rudra worship. So even if you worship like Lord Shiva, then he will advise you ultimately that you worship Krishna. If you are a dear devotee of the Lord Shiva, Shiva is not a like a Jiva soul. He is not the Vishnu Tattva, but he is in between. But Sadashiva in the spiritual world is different. So Shiva is not Bhagwan, but Mahesh Dham. And it is Sadashiva, he lives there in the Mahesh Dham. He is a kind in spiritual planet Sadashiva, he is a Vishnu Tattva, an expansion or plenary portion of the Vishnu. And thus it is beyond the material nature. And Sadashiva's expansion or plenary portion of Sadashiva is Lord Shiva, who resides in the material realm in Kailash. He is known as Shiva or Shambhu. He is Gunamaya, means Maya touches Shiva Shambhu, and thus he can perform his acts of creation and destruction. So there is two kinds of Lord Shiva, Jiva Koti Shiva and Ishwar Koti Shiva. Just like Brahma could be Ishwar Koti or Ishwar, and then most of the time it is he is a demigod or he is a Jiva. But Krishna takes that position if there is no proper person to get that post. So it is a post. Some people, they worship as God, as the spiritual master. So Jiva is not God. So worshipping Jiva is not proper. So it is that all living entity are God. This is very prominent in the society. Janta Janardhan. But it is some rich people are feeding the poor. They call it Daridra Narayan Seva. So, and then people who show some magic, they start worshipping them. But Krishna is saying, Matta Parataram Nanyat Kinchit Asti Dhananjaya. O conqueror wealth, there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me. His pearls are strung on a thread. So Maya is bewildering us. Each and every living entity has the tendency to be conditioned by Maya. Thus, they are controlled by the three modes. God, so they sometimes say that God is standing before you in many forms. Then why should one look for him in other places? There is no need to serve God. All human beings are God. So these all kinds of people, they make concoct rather than looking for scriptures like Srimad Bhagavatam or Chaitanya Charitamrita, Gita. Then they concoct many ways. We should never be affected by the misconception that every living entity is God, and that by serving the people we can serve God. there is no need to observing the God separately in the temple. That's what. But temple worship, temple is a form, like it is like a dham where deity is residing, where deity is being worshipped properly. There are preaching is there, the devotees are there, and his worship in a very gorgeous way. So one should go to the temple. The Prabhupada says that if you have a temple nearby, then don't make your own deities separately. Don't worship them. Go to the temple and worship there along with other devotees, and you could fulfill all the what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommends, 5 items of worshipping, and that you will be able to get it into the when you are go nearby if there is a temple, rather than worshipping. So demigods and difference between worshipping the personal features of the Lord is the topmost worship. Personal feature means Lord in the temple, he is a personality. He is God himself. He is Krishna himself. There, it's not a statue. It's not a idol. It is not idol worship. It's a God himself is being worshipped. He comes by Pran Pratishtha, like we recently had the Pran Pratishtha of Lord Ramchandra in Ayodhya. Lord Ramchandra is appearing in Ayodhya, which is very nice, and whole atmosphere is Sarchai. So Ram Rajya, we want Ram Rajya, so we should worship Ram or Krishna, so one and the same thing. You may say, what is the difference? Why not Krishna? Krishna comes in the form of Lord Ram. Ramadi Murtishu Kala Niyamena Tistan Nana Avatar Makarod Bhuvaneshu Pintu. Krishna Swayam Sambhavat Parama Manyo Govindam Adi Purusham Tamam Bhajan. But one can worship Lord Ram. Just like a actor, actor is in the theater, he is performing some acts under the direction of the director, but he cannot show everything what he is. But Lord Krishna is in his home, is in his own house. But Lord Ram is a Maryada Purushottam. He is under certain restrictions. He cannot show. He is Krishna, but he cannot show his all intimacy or what he has. He transfers. If somebody is asking that, please engage me, like Surpanaka came, but when she came as Kubja in Mathura, then he gave her the benediction. He made her very beautiful hunchback, and he stayed with her because she was very lusty. She had a lust, and she came, but this Lakshmanji cut her nose. So same way, like someone wants to feed the milk, breast milk, when she came as a demon, and then so she came as a demon later on, daughter of Bali Maharaj. So daughter of Bali Maharaj took the form of, she became Putna and fed the milk. And then he gave her, Krishna is so kind that even to such a demoness who wanted to give her the poison, he gave her the position of a nurse, dhai, like mother. So this is the Devata. So the difference between demigod and God is generally if the people worship in Hindu society, they do not know the difference between God or the demigods, devatas. They consider the demigods like Indra, Chandra, Varun, Ganesh, Durga, Kali. So, and the Lord Narayan, Ram, Narsimha, Vama, etc. They are not on the same level. They are different. We should know that there is a big difference between demigods and God. The demigods are authorized supply agents. They are who work on behalf of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They are engaged by God to manage the affairs of this material universe, material world. Like Varun Dev controls water, Vayu Dev controls air, Agni Dev controls fire. So there are different demigods. There are 90 crore, 330 million demigods are there in different planetary systems. So there are many universes, not just one or two, thousands and thousands of universes. But ultimately they are dependent on Krishna, their power, and so we should not, you give respect to the demigods, but we should only worship or give our loving devotional service to the Supreme Lord. That word prema is meant for Krishna only. We talk about prema in the material world, but there is really no law. It is most of the time it is lust. Demigods are jiva souls. Any living living entity can take the position of demigods when empowered by the Lord. But the supreme personality of Godhead is not Jiva Tattva, he is Vishnu Tattva. The supremacy of demigods is limited to the material world. They are nowhere worshipped in the spiritual kingdom. But the supremacy of God is pervading throughout the material and spiritual worlds. Any living entity, by dint of his pious activity, also can be promoted to the position of a demigod. The demigods can give some material pleasure and facility to the living entity in the material world, but they are unable to give liberation from this bondage of the material existence. The Supreme Lord can give liberation to the living entity. Like people are very Shaktas or Karshnas. Karshnas are Krishna's worshippers. Or Durga's worshippers are Shaktas. The Lord Shiva's Shaivites, Shiva's worshippers. So there are different worshippers. But if you worship like say Durga Devi, she is a pure devotee of the Lord. She is also afraid of coming in front of the Lord. But if you worship Durga or Kali or Parvati, like you may say that Katyayani Devi and that Sita Devi went to the demigod and Gopis they went to the demigod. But what they are asking is to give us Lord Krishna as our husband. Rukmini Devi worship in the Durga temple, but she is always looking for Krishna. Then she bestows you Krishna. If somebody dies in the say Kashi Dham, then the Lord Shiva goes there and they chant Ram Nam Satya. So he chants in his ear that worship Lord Ram. He does not say that worship me. Means he knows his limitation and he engages them in the service of the Supreme Lord. Ram Nam Satya. And it is always true or eternal. The truth is there. So demigods, one may say that are the demigods controlled by Maya? Yes, they are controlled by Maya. And those are known as Maya Dhina, Adhin of the Maya. But the Supreme Lord is called Maya Dhish. He is the Adhishwar or he is the master of the Maya. Maya is afraid to come in front of him. The heavenly planets and the abode of demigods will be destroyed at the time of annihilation. But the Supreme Lord and his abode are always fixed. In this way, at the time of annihilation, the planet of Indra and Chandra will be destroyed. Vaikuntha, Ayodhya, Golok, Vrindavan, etc., abodes of the Lord in the spiritual world are not undergoing any kind of destruction. Demigods are influenced by the three modes of material nature. That is, they are also affected by the three modes of material nature. That is Satogun, Rajogun, Tamogun. Even in the demigods, also that is there. The Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, Ram, Narayan, etc. is beyond the modes of material nature. His transcendental activities are not controlled by the modes of material nature. Common people are not able to understand this difference. They consider the Devas and the Supreme Lord to be on the same level. One should know that there are 330 million demigods mentioned in the Vedic scriptures. In the scripture, it is said that to get some material benefit or immediate result, people worship different demigods, but they are not intelligent because they do not know that a material result is temporary. Intelligent persons surrender unto the Supreme Lord. So it is not proper to worship demigods considering them to be God. One should know that although demigods are not equal to the Supreme Lord, they still should be respected. So respect is there. So respect should be to anybody in any senior personality. So one should respect the demigods, but one should render devotional service unto the Supreme Lord, knowing the difference between the Supreme Lord and the demigods. Having full faith in the Supreme Lord, one should become his devotee. Otherwise, one cannot attain the supreme goal of humans. In the material world, the supreme goal is to that you could go back home, back to Krishna's abode, or play with Krishna in different moods. That is, or to engage in loving devotional service at the lotus feet of the Lord. Whether you go to the the spiritual world or not, or Krishna lok, that does not matter. But you could, even here also, in a material world, if you don't have any, if you any personally material desires, and you worship Krishna, Krishna will bestow you or give you, even you become Jivan Mukh, even in this lifetime. So those who worship the demigods will take birth among the demigods. Pitran yanti pitravrata bhutani yanti bhuteja yanti mad yajanopima. One who worship, so yante devavrata devan. One worship demigod, they go to the demigod planet, but that is temporary. Brahma Bhona Loka Punaravarti Narjuna. From topmost Brahma Loka to the Atha Loka, there is rebirth. There is again you have to take birth again, you have to play again. So Ekele Ishwar Krishna or Sabhabhratya, everybody is his devotee. Nahi Swartha Gate mein Vishnu. Nate Vidu Swartha Gate mein Vishnu. That our real Swarth is to worship Krishna. So one should surrender himself unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna in order to be free from the repetition of birth and death. Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi Dukkha Doshanudarshan. We should see that it is suffering. So worship Krishna to get out of all this. Those who are serious about liberation are certainly non-envious. So that one should not become envious. Otherwise, you have to go far repeated. So you should work hard. You should renounce the pleasures of the material world, and you should worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead and not become envious of somebody who has the higher qualification. And they respect all. Yet they reject the horrible and ghastly form of the demigods and worship only the all blissful form of Lord Vishnu and his plenary portion. Those who are in the modes of passion and ignorance worship the forefathers, other living beings, and the demigods who are in charge of the cosmic activity, for they are urged by a desire to materially benefit with woman, wealth, power, progeny. So in Bhakti Sandarbha, it is said that a Pashandi, one who considers the demigods and the Supreme Personality of Godhead to be one, therefore in Pashandi worships any kind of demigods as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is completely denied. Demigods are not, they may be worshippers of Krishna, but demigods is not God. And we should not really make a show bottle in our home on the altar that all kinds of demigods are there. In our ISKCON temple, only Radha Krishna or Gaurnitai or Guru Parampara or Narsingadev, but there is no, Prabhupada never recommended that one. Even the Lord Shiva, who is higher than the demigods, but also that he did not promote even Lord Shiva's worship. You could give respect. So one should not think that demigods are equal to the Supreme Lord. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is quoted in Chaitanya Charitamrita Padma Puran. Yastu Narayanam Devam Brahma Rudradi Devatam Samatve Naiva Vikshena Sapashandi Bhave Dhruvam. A person who considers the demigods like Brahma and Shiva to be on the same level with Narayan is to be considered an offender or Pashandi. A jiva is not a god. So there are many propaganda that all living entities are a god. So this is very prominent in society. Janta Janarthan, like we discussed about this, Daridra Narayan. Don't you see the Narayan in the form of Daridras or poor people loitering on the street? So how Narayan could be Daridra? This is just misnomer term. Narayan he is worshipped. Narayan is worshipped by thousands of Lakshmis. So so Daridra Narayan, actually everybody is bereft of Krishna consciousness. They are real Daridra, but not that Narayan becomes Daridra. Daridra in our mentality that we do not understand who is Krishna. So Jiva is not God. So these poor people, this is according to Brahma, Daridra Narayan Seva, what they say, that these people, poor people, are Narayan, now they have become God. This is a misconception. Our action are very harmful because Lord Narayan never undergoes such a miserable condition of becoming poor. Only Jivatma, which is part and parcel of God, becomes influenced by the illusory energy of God and experiences such miserable conditions to the material world. The Supreme Lord is never, he is the master of Maya or illusory energy. He can never become influenced by the Maya and become a Jiva. So God is Asamardha. He is neither, nobody is equal or superior than Krishna. Asam or Urdha. Nobody is equal and Urdha means greater. So Krishna is the only personality who is above all the demigods, all the lower planetary system gods, and except Krishna is your soul master. Mattah parataram nanyat kinchit asti dhananjaya. O conqueror of wealth, there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me as the pearls are strung on a thread. Each and every living entity has a tendency to be conditioned by Maya. Thus, they are controlled by the three modes of material nature, and they enjoy the result of pious and impious activity. But the Supreme Lord is the master of Maya. He is never influenced by the modes of material nature and never controlled by Maya, because he is the master of Maya. Maya is afraid of coming in front of him because he is Maya's master. That every living entity is God is misconception that no one should accept that we are all God. And then they say, some yogis, that you come, take any boons from me. But what about taking all these boons that has been given by the demigods? They all go away. Some people say that all living beings are God. That is all wrong. But the devotees should stay together. That way they encourage, they develop more attachment among themselves and widen the road for rebirth. For the sake of this, we are requesting that we should never be offered by the misconception is that every living entity is God. So a spiritual master is not God. He is a representative of God. He never thinks. Shakshad haritvena samasta shastre uktas tatha bhavyate vasadhi kintu prabhorya priya tasya. He is dear to the Supreme Lord, but not that we should worship him. We should worship him, adore, that is, but not that he is considered that he is equal to the Supreme Lord. A disciple should worship his guru as God. Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasado yasya prasadana gati kuto. ध्यायस्तु वंश यशस्त्री सम्यम वंदे गुरु श्री चरणारविंद. We can never worship Guru without God. So God should be there, and God also should be worshipped along with his devotee, who is playing the role of a Guru in one's life. When we say Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Guru Sakshat Maheshwara, या Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. That the Guru is Brahma, Guru is Vishnu, and Guru is Mahadev. That Guru himself is Parabrahman. The Supreme Lord, in this way, out of confusion, they reject God and start worshipping only the spiritual master. So, Guru Brahma, that is fine, but one could give respect and honor, but we could not replace Krishna with any number of gurus. Any spiritual master who claims himself to be God is not God, but he is dog. same G-O-D and D-O-G. Sri Krishna is the worshipable Lord and the spiritual master is the topmost among all the servitors of God. Krishna is Savior Bhagavan and the Guru is Sevak Bhagavan. Guru is Sevak and Krishna is the Savior. God is the shelter and the spiritual master is the via media between disciple and God. To connect the disciple with God is the duty of the spiritual master. It is not that by the name of the God and keeping him on the altar, the Guru will attract people. When God is removed from the altar and Guru takes his place according to the scriptural injunction, worshipping God without the spiritual master or worshipping his spiritual master without God is not proper. So it should be worshipped together. So one requires a proper spiritual understanding, philosophical understanding about saints, spiritual masters, and God. So there are many verses all over Srimad Bhagavatam that been refuted that demigods are Jiva soul. They are also become influenced by Maya, and there is no need to worship the demigods independently or separately or considering them to be equal to God. I went to some big Swami in India. Then I asked him that who is Hanuman and all this, who is God. So he just says, everybody is God. You worship anybody, any demigod you worship, whether it is Hanuman or Durga or Ganesh or you worship anybody, it's all the same. So they don't understand the full philosophy or importance of Krishna. So Swayambhu Manu and the Supreme Brahman is the cause of all causes because he originally existed before the creation. He is the original cause of everything, both material and spiritual. The conception of God derived through the material senses is inaccurate because the Supreme Lord is beyond the material senses. We cannot understand. Atta Sri Krishna Namadi na bhavet grahya indriyai sevan mukhe jivado swayam eva spurudha. When one engages his senses in devotional service, the eternal Supreme Personality of Godhead is revealed on the platform of the soul. When that Supreme Godhead becomes the aim of one's life, one is said to have attained spiritual knowledge. Those who are materially absorbed worship various demigods. As the air passes over a lotus flower and carries the scent of the flower with it, or as the air sometimes carries dust with the therefore assumes colors, the Supreme Personality of Godhead appears as the various demigods according to the desires of his various foolish worshippers, but actually he is Supreme Truth. Lord Vishnu, to fulfill the desire of his devotees, he appears in various incarnations, and therefore there is no need to worship the demigods. So Daksha also just prayed, and then Lord Vishnu appeared. So there are a lot of quotations, various quotations that there is no need to worship, just like Vratrasur. Vratrasur, how this Vratrasur appeared, Twasta in the Vishwarup was killed, and the Twasta performed a sacrifice. He was a priest to King Indra, and the mantras are chanted irregularly. They yield an opposite result. This happened when the Twasta performed this yagya. While performing this sacrifice to kill Indra, Twasta chanted a mantra to increase Indra's enemies. But because he chanted the mantras wrong, the sacrifice produced the Asura named Vratrasura. The demigods all worshipped him because ultimately no one but him can protect a living entity. See, every demigod, they go to the shore of the milk ocean, Shir Sagar, whenever there is a burden on the earth, and then they go. Even they go with Lord Shiva or Brahma, Yamraj, and they all go to him. Then he instructs them what to do. So we could approach directly because he is our Supreme Father. So we should go to Krishna. And that's why this verse is very important. And when there is yajna, even initiation is performed, is said that akama sarvakama va moksha kama dardhi tivrena bhakti yogena yaje purusha param. That we should worship, that with bhakti yoga one should worship the Supreme Lord and not the demigods. In fifth canto in Rishabh, they also says many things about this, and he also. So I will end here. If you have any questions, just one quotation: you dance with Krishna, you eat with Krishna, talk with Krishna, you enjoy with Krishna. Krishna will kiss you also. Krishna is very kind to everyone. Either you love him as a lover, either love him as your son, either you love him as your friend, or you love him as your master. In whichever way you like, you can love, and Krishna will respond. This is from Prabhupada's lecture, and that you will love Krishna in any condition, and he will fulfill your all the desires. And ultimately, our desire should be to please Krishna, because he is our master. He is like the root of everything. Root cause is Sarva Karana Karanam. Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigra Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. He is the real enjoyer, and we should enjoy. We will be able to enjoy with him, like you offer Krishna Chappan Bhog, and you could eat as a prasad. But if you eat directly, then you are eating sin, and you will get entrapped by the Maya. So better to worship Krishna directly rather than worshipping through the demigods. Now, if they worship demigods, what is the result? They have to take birth again. If demigod is very powerful, he will tell you to go and worship Lord Krishna or Lord Ram. He will never take the position of what Krishna should get or should be result. So if there is any comment or questions, we can discuss. It's a very elaborate topic, and elaborate topic means Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and many more other places that worshipper of demigod is not. Although demigod worship is there in certain Puranas, but that Purana is for the demigod. So Krishna puts your mind on demigod, and if somebody's mind is on demigod, then we should not disturb him, because if he gets away from demigod worship, he becomes a atheistic. So at least he is there, he is worshipping demigod, but ultimately one should gradually train them, or demigod himself would tell him to just go and worship the Supreme Lord. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Very wonderful class as always. So very detailed class about demigod worship. Yes, we have 330 million demigods, and we don't know whom to worship. So that is
Right.
and so whenever problems comes, we according to the Vedic scriptures we go, and yes, we have experienced this in our past before coming into Krishna consciousness, that okay, this problem is there, so I will go to this demigod. This problem is there, so I will go here. So it was really a very big havoc for us itself also, and it's only by the mercy of Prabhupada that we had got to know that our Supreme Lord is Sri Krishna. Like how even there in other religions, they just worship only one God. So, but for us, it is like too many gods, so we don't know where to go. So, but it's only by Prabhupada's mercy we got Krishna, and we are knowing Krishna. And for whatever initial starting of the class, you said that for both material and spiritual desires, we can go to Krishna. He will sanction us. If it is good for us, if it is a material desire, and if it is good for us, He will sanction. Otherwise, it won't be given to us. So, thank you so much, Prabhuji. That was really a very wonderful, detailed class. Thank you. Thank you once again.
Yeah. Thank you, Mother. Thank you for your wonderful comments.
Any
Anyone
questions,
else?
dear? Yeah, Prabhuji. Any questions, dear devotees, or realizations? Please go
Hare
ahead.
Krishna Maharaj, Dhanut Pranam, Jai Shilpad,
Hare
Jai
Krishna,
Radha
Radha Raman
Maharaj.
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, very nice class, Maharaj.
My blessings to you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu. I think, yeah. So Radha Jyoti Mataji is asking, Lord Shiva is always fulfill the material desires easily. Why is it so?
He is Ashutosh, and he becomes very pleased very easily. And when he will, if you are really worshipper of Lord Shiva, not asking many boons like this, this Bhasmasur or Vrakasur, he asks that whosoever head I put my hand, he should get burned, and he ran behind Lord Shiva himself to enjoy Parvati. So such is the like Ravan. Ravan pleased Lord Shiva, but ultimately his whole kingdom was destroyed. Lord Shiva gives nice instruction, like to he gave instruction to sons of Daksha, and so that there are other ways also that one can worship Lord Shiva, but he will engage you. Shiva himself is all the time meditating on Sankarshan. So why not directly we go to Sankarshan, who is part of Krishna? Krishna expands his Sankarshan, Vasudev Sankarshan, Pradyumna Aniruddha. If you have desire to worship Krishna, you could go to demigods, and demigod asks that please engage me in loving service to Lord Krishna. I don't understand, but you are easily pleased, so please give me Krishna. So that way, like worship by, as I said, that gopis and Sita Maharani, and they did go for demigod worship, but that is to love Krishna. They loved Krishna so much that without which they cannot live. So they ask, because that's please get us Krishna as our husband, get us love of Krishna. So she can best do that also. So worshipping demigod means you give them respect. You could ask, go, and they are pleased easily, but not that you replace Krishna. You ultimately you have to come to Krishna. If you want the ultimate goal of your life, you want to get good.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. So whatever it is, we can go to demigods, but with the mood that we want Krishna Bhakti. So
Right.
that was very helpful. And even yes, according to Lord Shiva, he gives the boons, but everything is temporary. Like as you said, examples of Ravan and so Vrikasur. So all those are temporary only, but still I think it is we have the demoniac mentality that we do not accept that okay, if I get the boon, it's fine. So that's how our mentality is. That's why the Lord is so easily giving us the boon, and we are suffering after that. So, but if I think if my understanding is, Prabhuji, that if our devotion is intense to Lord Shiva, then he will guide us to Krishna.
Yeah, worship Lord Krishna. That's correct.
Yeah. So, devotees, any other questions or realizations? Please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, this is Anuradha Devi Dasi.
Oh, Hare Krishna.
Dana
Hare Krishna.
Pranam to you, Guru Maharaj Ji. A very nice class today. Maharaj Ji, I have two different questions.
Okay.
I heard that when somebody died in Banaras, Kashi, right, and then Lord Shiva comes and give the Ram name in their ear, and so that they can deliver to the Saket Dham, I think. Is this correct,
Right.
Guru Maharaj?
Yeah, that is correct. Because the Kashi is the Nagari of Lord Shiva, and then they worship. So, but Kashi, Lord Shiva tells you to worship Krishna. Ram Nam Satya hai. That is the truth. So chant the names of the Lord Ram. At least before, like while dying, or even if he is like already his body is being burned, but he pronounces the name of Lord, the Supreme Lord Ram, so he could get liberation from this material entanglement. So that is true. What you are saying is true.
So that person goes to the Saket Dham to Lord
Right.
Ram about. Maharaj, I have another question regarding the Hare Krishna mantra. When we say Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, that Ram is the Lord Rama, or it's represent also the Krishna?
It represents Radha Raman, one who plays with Srimati Radha. So Raman is called Ram also. Ram means one who enjoys. Raman जो करते हैं उन्हीं को राम भी कहते हैं. Raman means to play, enjoyment. So when Krishna enjoys with Radharani, it's called Radha Raman itself. Ram. So it is not our Lord Ram. Otherwise, Hare means Radha Rani, or Hara, or Srimati Radha Rani. And Radha Rani never goes with Lord Ram. That is Rasabhas. Radha Rani is always with Krishna. So Ram word is for Krishna. Hare Rama means Hare is Radha Rani, and Ram is one who plays with Radha, that is Krishna.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you so
other?
much. Yeah, there are questions in the chat, Prabhuji. You have time, Prabhuji?
Yeah, just few more minutes. I have to offer Aarti soon. So anyway, you go ahead and another few minutes.
So, yes, Prabhuji. So Radha Jyoti Mataji, she's asking how to practice bhakti to have more realizations in bhakti.
Associate with the devotees who are more realized than the person, then you could get more realization. So association is very, very important. Association with the higher devotees who are more realized than us, and you worship them, you love them, you give them all loving care. Who are equal to you, you make friends. Who are lower than you, then you bless them or you teach them. Or so that is how these three different levels. If one is equal, then you worship as a friend, or you serve as a friend. They are higher, then you worship, and in that way you get more realization. So people who are whatever level there is, they should always try to associate with more senior, more advanced devotees. And they could their bhakti would become more and more mature, more and more serious, more and more important, more and more fructifying. Its fruits would be more sweeter.
Thank you, Prabhuji. There is one more question. Bharati Prabhuji or Mataji, they are asking. Thank you for wonderful class. Prabhuji, how BG 3.12 Ishtan Bhogan related to this topic?
Oh, bhakti. Okay. 3.12.
Yeah.
Okay, let me just take that up.
Okay, 3.12. Yes.
Okay. Ishtan Bhogan. Okay. Devo Deva Dashyante Yagya Bhavita Tair Dattan Pradayebhyo Yo Bhukte Stena Evasi. In charge of the various necessities of life, the demigods, being satisfied by the performance of yagya sacrifice, will supply all necessities to you. But he who enjoys such gifts without offering them to the demigod in return is certainly a thief. So what it is saying that demigods are empowered; they are the agents of Krishna. So you worship them, and they will give the results. So one should not just take for themselves; they should offer. But if you directly offer everything, then Krishna would be happy, and he will provide. That's why this verse, Akama Sarva Kamava Moksha Kamodarthi. We are not saying that you don't worship demigod itself, but don't replace with Krishna or put in place of Krishna. To consider Lord Brahma or Shiva to be independent of Krishna is an offense to the holy name. So the demigods are providing various necessities of life. So you could do yagya, but then demigods they offer in parampara, they offer to Krishna because they are devotees of the Lord. So they offer, like we give to the Guru, then Guru gives to his Guru, his Guru, his Guru, ultimately it goes to Krishna. So we should not just take the things without offering it to, but you could offer to Krishna directly.
Okay. Prabhuji. So whatever we do, it has to be offered to Krishna, and then it can be honored by us.
Right.
So
sometimes
even the demigod also follow. Yeah.
I was saying that in Jagannath Puri, they offer to Lord Jagannath, then it goes to the this Durga Devi, or there is a temple nearby. So
outside.
Right.
Okay. Yes. Then after that, we will honor it. So even the demigods also take that offerings, what we do to Krishna, and then they give it to us as Mahaprasad.
Right.
So that's how I understood. Thank you, Prabhuji. And so I think, yes, that's it. No more questions, Prabhuji, here on the chat box. And devotees, any more realizations? Yes, Aditi Mataji, you want to say something?
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisances, Srila Prabhu Maharaj. Wonderful class Maharaj. Wonderful class. And the topic is also so sensitive. We come across so many challenges, because the new devotees ask us, why we should not, worship demigods. So it's very challenging for devotees like us to explain. But this class was so informative that we can implement what you said. And this is written in the scriptures, right? Like you said, we offer it first to Jagannath Swami, and then it's offered to the other temple, like Durga temple. So similarly, if we are directly praying to Krishna, it will go direct to Krishna. If we pray to demigods, then it's indirect, right? The demigods have to offer again to Krishna, right? But for us, it is very challenging to answer this question because we are not Uttamadhikaris like Maharaj, you all are.
No,
But
I'm not
so,
Uttamadhikari either. So.
no, but we are all fallen soul, and it becomes very challenging. These are the question we've been asked every time. And when they keep the demigods in the altar, and we don't know how to explain it to them because we don't want to disrespect demigods, with all full respect. But how, I mean, in a simple way, how do we explain or tell them why demigods shouldn't be placed in the altar where Krishna is?
See, I had to go for Arti soon, but demigods, they should not really. I in my altar we were putting all this. Then Ravindra Surpram and others, they said that there is no need. Automatically they are giving respect and they are getting all the prasad from the Supreme Lord. But putting them and then that would not give us the love of God. That is a kind of, it's a temporary results. So why not to worship Krishna directly? Slowly, you should not remove their faith in the demigod, otherwise they would become atheists.
Yes, I know.
No,
Thank
you. And Krishna gives the results late, not immediately as the other demigods are.
Exactly.
But it is like a bribe. You are giving a bribe to get the result, but really the things should go to the treasury, your taxes, and you're not giving bribe.
Yeah. Thank you, Maharaj. I know it's time constraint. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Hare
Thank you so
Krishna.
much. Thank you so much.
Patitanam
Vatsandya
Yo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo. Anantakoti Vaishnavaki Jai Srila Prabhupada. Jai Jagannath.
Namo Namaha.
Please.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank
Hare
you so much
Hare
for
Krishna
this.
Shama Gauri
Jai.
Mataji.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
And
Thank you so
Jai.
much.
We're back to routine, Mataji.